this is Van, continuing my catwalk video, how to. But first, to show this, I need a pencil, so if you could just look at my hand briefly. Ah, there we go. All right, so now that I've got the pencil, I can show you what I did to get this all together. So basically, these platforms here that the cat's bound up from the catwalk here, they're held in place by brackets above them, so they're a little bit hidden. If you're from the below, you don't see the support mechanism. So it's pretty simple. I just made these a little bit wider than 16 inches, so it would span our studs. And then if I turn on a stud finder, then I can just move it sideways, and it will tell me where a stud is. Right there. So that's when I'm going to take my pencil, mark that spot, and maybe use a level to bring me down here where I want to put a screw, or I could come over here 16 inches away. There's the next one, another stud. So that straight down from that is here. I've already obviously installed this mostly, but only one screw is holding this, so I'll put another screw. And the shear strength of these screws is quite good, so you don't really need more than one, but for demonstration, I'll just show you. There, got a second screw in there. The other side of the bracket here is screwed, each hole, 3 holes, screwed into the 5/8 inch plywood. Those are all needed because that's only 5/8 of an inch of plywood, so the screws are quite short, and it would fall off if I only used one probably. So 3 of those, at least one up here. Now I've got a couple. So that's plenty strong for a cat. Same goes for up here and up there and up there. So all those are just going from stud to stud to get those brackets in. And then the other part is the catwalk itself down here. Same deal, where I want to put a bracket in sometimes, but not needed as often because we have the support at the end of a ledger underneath this board. So you only really need a couple supports every 10 feet or so. So here's my stud that obviously if I did the stud finding again, I'd find the stud right here, which I've already got screwed in. So this is a bracket to hold the catwalk. It's a 1x8, and it goes all the way along here. To make it look nice, I put the ledger to support the edge of that catwalk right at the top of where we have some transoms, where the trim of our transom is over the door there. So the height for this catwalk, I just determined it would look best to put it right at the top of the existing trim, just continuing that line all the way around. And that ledger is just 1x2, maybe 1x2.5, I think 1x2. And it's simply held with finish nails where there's a stud. So there's one here, obviously, where the bracket is. I've got a little finish nail there. The nice finish nails are nice to use because they're not very obvious. They're less noticeable than a screw. I like to use galvanized because it sticks, kind of holds better. So those are probably 2.5 inch galvanized finish nails. And nailing them most every stud is what I did. All right, that's it. The other thing is on the other side of the stairs, likewise, that ramp with some sisal wrapped around it is held with just 2 L brackets, like I showed over here, that are just allowing it to hang from the wall. And that's plenty of strength for the weight of a cat scrambling up that. And I'll talk about how I joined around the corner each time. I put some fastening techniques for that. I'll show that in the next video. So here's the view of our catwalk, sort of going up our stairwell. There's a nice little place they can hop up through that hole in the corner here with these little boards that were just supported with ledgers under there. Once again, ledgers screwed into the studs to make them secure. And the board happened to have, this one happened to have a big knot, so I just cut it out and it was perfect for them jumping through. They come up and then they bound up to the regular catwalks over the transom over the door. Then they can run up that, where Rose has a nice mural up over our heads on the left, and there's places up there for the cats to hang out on a big board outside our bedroom, and then a catwalk across up there that they can come down those, bound down those boards that are attached to the wall that I just talked about. Up or down, of course. And you'll see some ropes there. We hang our laundry in this strange large space in our stairwell. Turned out that that was perfect use for the space, especially in the winter when we have dry air. So we hang our laundry in there quite often, and the cats seem to love that because they can hide in the clothes a bit. It makes it more exciting for them. All right, I'll get to the living room out here and talk about what I did with the construction in just a second. So here is a view of our catwalks in the living room, and I'll talk about how I constructed those, and you can see how they're sort of connect with the hallway ones that go up the stairs. So there's the hallway. There's a little halfway jumping point there for them to get up to the catwalk from the low catwalk outside that wooden door into a bedroom that we open for heat. And there's another catwalk along the top of that door frame. It follows that line under those transoms, and then they can hop over to another catwalk along that beam right along the bottom of it. Finally, there's a big platform here under the beam that is next to a post, which they can go up or down. They usually go up, not down, but they have gone down it, and they sometimes jump all the way from the platform to the couch, which you'll see in a slow-mo video later. So how I constructed these. I basically used a couple kinds of screws, either a 3-inch screw, 2.5-inch screw, or a 2-inch screw, depending on how much material I was going through. And I use really short screws for when I'm going down into a platform that might not be very thick. So they're probably 1-inch screws that go down into this board, for instance, to hold it up. And this has just bigger brackets. I think they're like 8 by 8-inch brackets to allow this to hang from the beam and be low enough that they can get back and forth under the beam. And I was able to do that even maintaining this height at over 6'5", which is the height of my stepson. So I wanted him to be able to walk under this and not hit his head. So that's pretty straightforward, just made out of a piece of scrap wood, and that little hole in the middle was just kind of my design to give them a way to get up, and they use it every day. So then there may be a quick video about how we wrap the sisal around the post. That has to be changed every couple of years because they will shred it eventually. It's not in great shape now, but better than it was. And then from the platform, they can hop up on this, which also has some sisal wrapped around it because Tansy, our girl cat, at least once slipped on the shellac that we treated the boards with. And so the sisal just gives her sure footing, and they seem to really like that. They sometimes lie on it and just hang on up there, if not on top of this platform. And then that catwalk that goes along the bottom of the beam is held with a bracket there, and a midway bracket halfway down, and then just by a ledger at the end. I'll show that more closely in a second. And I thought it would look nicest to line that up right even with the bottom of this beam. So it's right there. And this ledger I didn't even need to drill into the wall because it's held by these 2 screws going up into the beam. So that gave plenty of strength to hold the end of that catwalk right there against the wall. So it's just resting on top of it. I'd probably put one nail or screw to hold just to secure it. Then they can hop down a little bit to this corner, hangout with a toy in there. And that corner hangout and the ledger, and the catwalk are supported by this ledger against the corner of our wall. So that's screwed right in the corner where there's a stud and right there where there's a stud with a pretty long screw to get into a stud. We definitely wanted to get into a stud because this is an exterior wall and it's there's a vapor barrier in there and all. We didn't want to pierce that. So you want to go into wood, not into air or insulation. So that corner piece is held, it's sort of rounded to give them a place to hang out. And it's held simply by like a piece of Luan, a very thin plywood, just screwed probably with 1-inch screws or even 3/4 inch screws because they're not very thick. That's a 1x. So 4 screws are all I used for that one, and it's plenty strong to seem to support that along to make those 2 boards meet. And then the catwalk goes along here. There's a transom into a little foyer there, and there's the other bracket hidden from the floor, but up here you can see it, and that just holds the other bit of length here. And then around the corner, I actually didn't use a bracket. I used a wooden bracket that looks a little better because it was going to be more visible to use metal on that end. And the 2 pieces that join there a little bit imperfectly are held by, I only used 3 screws. I should put a 4th one there, but another piece of Luan or 1/8 inch plywood attached to both of them just to keep them even with each other. And then if I walk around here, this is where I didn't want to see the metal bracket because we kind of see this area pretty clearly from our kitchen area. So that wooden support is just more aesthetically pleasing. And then over to the corner, we have another ledger there with another rounded board also held with one of the Luan pieces. And then they can jump down to this catwalk, which is a foot and a half below it, which goes right above our coat rack. And to get below the door, you needed to jump down like that. And it has a ledger at the end, pretty simple, and comes over to here where didn't want to see a metal bracket. This is right at eye height, so I put another wooden support here, just and used finish nails right there into the trim of the window that we use to get heat into that guest room. Then below this and above this is that bracket, the brackets that hold that corner piece that's kind of a halfway point for them to jump up onto the catwalk in the stairwell. And then below it, if they want to exit here, I did put a funny shaped board here just to allow them to jump down and then to the floor. So they can do that. And that's supported once again by metal brackets down low that we don't see very much. And because the studs weren't where I needed to have them to screw directly into the wall, I screwed a board against the wall and then put the metal brackets on the board. So that's another way to do it if you don't have a stud in the right place. Okay, that's it for this part of the video. So to replace this worn out sisal at the bottom of our post for the cats, I am going to use these materials.
Bye.